Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson along with Andrew Bone coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on February 16th. Here with Bone to talk about Ty Simpson, upcoming four-star who has a commitment date that was supposed to be on Friday, then changed it. So we're going to dive into a couple different topics. I don't know if you guys have seen this young man's highlight tapes. We have them. We're going to talk about Simpson's highlight tapes, very dynamic quarterback. Bone, first of all, kind of starting out, what should we know about Ty Simpson right out the gates?
Well, you watch his highlight film, and I think you can easily tell he's one of the top high school quarterbacks in the country, maybe even the best. You know, I know he's not ranked number one right now, but I mean, he's he's right there in the mix. He's a 6.0 4-star, number 36 overall in the country in the Rivals 100. So I think this kid has a chance to really move up in the rankings over the course over the next few months. I mean, you watch his highlight film, and his ability to make plays when the pocket collapses. I think that's the biggest thing that stood out to me. Kind of like Tua. I mean, we used to see Tua, make these incredible plays outside the pocket, rolling out, and we see this now in Ty Simpson. I don't want to compare him yet to Aaron Rodgers, but it's something that Aaron Rodgers does such a great job at in the NFL, and he kind of has a lot of similarities there. So I think it's something to really watch. I mean, he's got this athletic ability, his ability to break tackles and throw on the run. I think that's really impressive, and had a great junior season, and comes from a coach. He's a coach's son. I was trying to say comes from a coach's son, but he is a coach's son. But yeah, I mean, this is a kid who's very smart, very talented, and there's a reason why so many programs throughout the country want him to be a part of their program. And I think when you look at his recruitment, Alabama, Clemson, I know Tennessee and Oklahoma and Ole Miss. These are some of the programs that are very high on his list. But I think when it comes down to it, I really think this is an Alabama Clemson recruiting battle, and these two programs do a great job of evaluating quarterbacks. And I think when a quarterback is at the top of both of these schools' lists, you got to think he's certainly one of the best overall in the country, if not the best.
Here with Andrew Bone talking about Ty Simpson, Alabama versus Clemson recruiting battle, as Bone just said right there. Talking about four-star quarterback out of the state of Tennessee. His highlights, very dynamic. I mean, I checked them out today, and I was just blown away. I mean, the guy's ability, like you said, to throw on the run, very slippery type quarterback, tremendous amount of athleticism. And, I have a couple questions that I wanted to ask you. And then at the end of this interview, we actually have an interview that you conducted with his father, Jason. So we'll play that at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. The commitment day has changed. I know that we talked about, potentially him committing on Friday. Things changed. He's going to be committing, I believe, next week. So kind of give us the latest on that.
Yeah, so with the Snowmageddon 2021, affecting the country, he's decided to push his commitment. He was originally supposed to commit on Friday. He's going to commit next Friday. I don't think it has anything to do with not knowing his decision. I think he does know his decision. I think it's pretty much set in his mind, but he wants to do it with his friends. He wants to do it with his teammates at his high school, and his high school canceled classes this week. So decided to push it back a week. It was kind of funny because I was interviewing his father, who's the head coach at UT Martin, Jason Simpson, which was a fantastic interview. Really enjoyed speaking with him for the first time. And my phone blew up. It's right when we were kind of in the middle of the conversation about Ty moving his commitment a week, and his dad didn't know that he had officially moved it. They had talked about it the night before about moving it, and then Ty announced it via social media. So I don't think there's anything to look into that. And I think it's just strictly about doing it with his family and friends and teammates at his high school. So that's the only reason I think he's decided to delay things. But I do think it's an Alabama Clemson recruiting battle. I don't want to rule out Tennessee just yet, because I think Tennessee was probably going to get his commitment a month ago. That was before Jeremy Pruitt and the staff there were fired. And I know that the new staff has come in and tried to recruit him in such a short period of time. But I just don't see him going to Tennessee right now. I think they'll probably continue to recruit him, but I do think it's an Alabama Clemson recruiting battle. And from speaking to his father and just the approach that both schools have kind of taken on, with Ty, it just seems like Alabama has a great chance to land its commitment. I think they really like the structure of the program in Tuscaloosa. Despite Alabama just recently losing its offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian to Texas, there was a great relationship there with Coach Sark. And as Dad even mentioned, the relationship that Ty had the best relationship with, kind of throughout the process so far had been Steve Sarkisian and also Lincoln Riley. He had developed a really close relationship with both of those coaches. But at the same time, I think Bill O'Brien has come in as soon as he became the offensive coordinator at Alabama. I think he kind of went through different quarterbacks and evaluated them, and decided that once again, Ty Simpson is at the top of Alabama's wish list, and they've developed a really strong connection over the course of the last month. And what Bill O'Brien has to sell to Ty Simpson is his ability to develop quarterbacks. He's worked with Tom Brady, worked with Deshaun Watson. Those quarterbacks, pretty successful NFL careers, and I think just a smart. Very intelligent offensive coordinator. Has that NFL background, that NFL pedigree. I think that's something that really stands out to Ty Simpson. But it's not. I don't think it's just Bill O'Brien. Obviously, there's obviously Alabama, Nick Saban. The whole program from top to bottom, whether it's, the medical staff, the training staff, the strength and conditioning staff, the nutrition staff, the academic support staff. There's just a lot of guys and people that work behind the scenes at Alabama that really sells the program. And it's not just somebody saying, oh, well, they've got this offensive coordinator or they have this position coach. It's just so much more. And I think that's what really sells Alabama. And that's what Alabama sells is the entire program. They don't just sell the success on the football field. They sell the success of the entire program. And there's so many people that are involved, and so many people who believe in Alabama. It's just from like I said, the academic support staff. I think they've been a huge help with Alabama, with top prospects, especially during this past recruiting class. Having to do all these Zoom calls and virtual tours. There was a lot that goes into that. It's not just an assistant coach or Nick Saban setting these visits up via Zoom for these kids. There's a whole entire network of people that are working behind the scenes, and I think that's what really sticks out to sticks out to players, sticks out to their families. I think that's the big reason why Alabama just signed what many people believe is the best recruiting class of all time. So, we'll see how things go in this year's recruiting cycle. But, if they can get Ty Simpson on board, I think you got to give a lot of credit to a lot more people than just Coach Saban and Bill O'Brien. I think there's a lot of people that are working behind the scenes to hopefully get him on board.
Hey, Bone, I wanted to ask you, clearly, this young man has some incredible highlights. I mean, he's out of the class of 2022. We're starting to look at prospects that could be jumping on board in 2022. We've mentioned plenty of them, but specifically at quarterback. And I was kind of going over the quarterback roster at Alabama, and you can keep up with the scholarship tracker and all the roster management back at BamaInsider.com. But all three of Alabama's quarterbacks are currently listed as freshmen eligibility-wise. Bryce Young coming in. I know he played a little bit last year, but last year didn't count for anybody. So you have Bryce Young, eligibility-wise, a freshman. Paul Tyson still a freshman, and then you have early enrollee Jalen Milroe. How big of a need is quarterback out of the class of 2022 for Alabama?
Well, I think you always want to sign a quarterback in each recruiting class, and you want to go after the best player possible. You want to have that competition, and you never know what may happen. You don't know if there's an injury. You don't know if Ty Simpson may come in and be the best quarterback once he arrives in Tuscaloosa. I mean, you look at Jalen Hurts a few years ago, wins the SEC Offensive Player of the Year as a true freshman, and Alabama brings in Mac Jones and Tua You just probably didn't expect one of those guys to stick around. Of course, they both stuck around and had unbelievable careers in Tuscaloosa. So you just never know. And I think that Alabama does a great job of selling kids on being a part of the program, even if there's other elite kids there. Alabama is a program that's always going to recruit 5 stars, top 100 type players, and those players are going to be littered at every single position. And I think when you see kids that still go to Alabama, it's because they believe in themselves, and they also believe that they're good enough to compete. So I think Ty Simpson is one of those guys who believes that he can come in and play with anybody, and regardless of what may happen this upcoming fall, let's say Bryce Young is the starting quarterback and has an unbelievable season, and it looks like he's going to be the starting quarterback for the next couple of years. I still don't see that scaring Ty Simpson off. I think he's a pretty confident guy, and certainly somebody that is ready to compete, especially at the highest level.
Here with Andrew Bone of BamaInsider.com, talking about Ty Simpson, who will commit next Friday on February 26th. Bone, you have an interview coming up that will play once our interview is done right here with Jason Simpson, the backstory of Jason, his father, and tell us a little bit about that interview, and stay tuned because we're about to play that after this interview.
Yeah, it was great catching up with Coach Simpson. He's the head coach at UT Martin in Martin, Tennessee, and it was interesting to talk to him because he was getting ready for his first game of the football season. Their conference moved their football season to this spring. They've been practicing for the last couple weeks, and now they're getting ready to play their first football game this season. So that's kind of crazy, but they've lived in Martin, Tennessee since Ty was pretty young. I think they've been there since 2006. So I know his father probably wants him to come to UT Martin and be the quarterback there, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But it was a great conversation. I think he has a lot of respect for the programs that have recruited his son throughout this process. And, he spoke very highly about Alabama and Bill O'Brien and, what Alabama can do for, potentially do for his kids. So I think it was a great interview. He talks about, Ty growing up and, when he got his first offer, he had a pretty cool story about, the first offer that arrived for Ty from Michigan. So certainly, listen to that. But I thought it was a great interview with him, and I think Alabama fans will really enjoy it.
All right, we'll definitely check out that interview. We're going to play it right now as part of this video package on Tuesday, February 16th. Good stuff, Bone. We'll continue to track Ty Simpson. I'm interested to check out that interview right now. So definitely hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Remember, you're getting your coverage right here from BamaInsider.com, the best in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We appreciate you more than you know. Good work, Bone. And we'll see you on Thursday night for another live show talking Alabama Crimson Tide football recruiting.
All right. What's up, Alabama fans? It's Andrew Bone here with BamaInsider.com. I have a special guest on the show today, Coach Jason Simpson from UT Martin. Coach, how you doing?
Hey, man. Good morning. Fighting this blizzard, I guess you would say, here in West Tennessee. But besides that, doing great.
You guys have a little bit more snow up there than we do this week, but you know how it is here in the South. Everybody's gonna freak out. We're all trying to stay indoors and stay warm this week. So I know you guys have a lot going on. But talk about this past year for you guys up there at UT Martin. I know having to not really have a season was pretty tough.
No, it was. I tell you what, it was a tough time there in August, just like most coaches, head coaches were dealing with, and players. None of the conferences knew what they were, where they're going to play, what the situation was, the eligibility of the players. So there were some tough days when out there to practice, and didn't have any answers for the players. But we didn't. Our league didn't play. We chose not to play the 4 games. Just we had a lot of positive tests, so it was the right situation for us not to play. I hate it for our players because we were scheduled actually to come to Tuscaloosa this year. We were supposed to play Alabama, so that would have been a great experience for our players.
Now, did you just recently tell me you guys are going to be starting practice this week?
Well, no, actually, we've been practicing now, I guess, for about four weeks, and our first game's this week.
Oh, wow.
It's supposed to be Sunday. Right now, my field looks like a hockey rink, though. There's ice all over it. So we'll yet to be determined whether or not we'll be able to play. But no, it's been good. The kids have really been. I mean, they're excited to play. They saw the SEC teams. They saw the national championship. It's this is their careers. This is their time to get a chance to play a 7-game season. So no, the spirit is back. The somewhat of the uncertainty is gone. So it's good to give these guys an opportunity.
Well, that's great. Well, best of luck to you this season. I know you guys have been really looking forward to it. And one of the main reasons we have you on the show today is to talk about your son, Ty Simpson, who's one of the top football recruits in the country and certainly one of Alabama's top overall targets, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Let's talk about Ty and kind of how his recruitment began and what you've seen over the course of the last year in his development.
No, that's great. I appreciate the opportunity to do that. No, I'll tell you a quick funny story. I guess when Ty was in like the 8th grade, and he had always been throwing. He would come to my practices and throw the ball. So, the older players, my players, would let him throw with them, and he would jump out there in one-on-ones and stuff, and not embarrass himself. So, so I knew there was an opportunity coming for him as a quarterback. But the quick funny story of his first offer in the 8th grade, he grabbed my phone one day. We were coming back from a quarterback workout in Nashville, and he said, "Dad, can I send some of your?" I've been the head coach here for 15 years, so we've had a lot of coaches go on to currently Jay Graham, one of your tight end coach there at Bama, actually used to work here for us in 2007. So anyway, Ty says, "Let me send some of my quarterback video to some of your former coaches, Dad." And I said, "Sure, go ahead." So he grabs my phone and starts going through the contacts, and sends them to guys, and then he finds Jim Harbaugh's name, head coach of Michigan, obviously on my phone. I at that time didn't know Jim Harbaugh. He had texted me earlier in the week about hiring one of his graduate assistants for a job I had here at UT Martin. So I had saved his number. So Ty says, "Hey, Dad, can I send to Jim Harbaugh?" "Sure. I don't know him, but go right ahead." So he does, and then 5 minutes later, Jim texts us right back and said, "Hey, we'd like to meet him. We'd like to get him up here. We'd like to be his first offer." So actually, a couple weeks later, we went to Ann Arbor, and so that was his first offer from Michigan. And Harbaugh actually came here and did a camp for me that following summer. So ever since that time, right, the recruiting process has been going, and myself and Ty, we've got to meet a lot of people and make a lot of friends in this business, and so it's been a fun ride.
Well, obviously with COVID and everything shutting the country down, a lot of kids didn't get a chance to take visits, but Ty's been able to take some trips over the course of the last few years, and I know he's been to Alabama. I think he told me last time I interviewed him 6 times, including the Alabama-Kentucky game earlier this season. Just talk about what you've seen from Alabama, how they've been able to recruit him, and why they're one of his finalists.
Well, I mean, obviously the tradition of the program and the national championships and, all those things, in my opinion, what recruit would that not catch their attention? But, over the years, Ty didn't necessarily grow up, any particular team. I played at Mississippi State but, knocking around in this coaching profession, UT Martin is football that he's known. So he's always cheered for all the different SEC schools and had some other out of conference, favorites, that he liked. So it was a little bit different for him going into this process of, it was kind of the fit, what could be a place that would help him reach his goals and his dreams. And that's something that we wrote down, I guess about 2 years ago. Hey, you've got to grow up a little bit and decide what your priorities are. Okay. Is it national championship? Is it playing in the SEC West? Is it, playing early in your career? All those things are important to different people, but by the time you get to your junior year, are you going to be able to identify which one of those are priorities to you when it comes to, picking a school? And I think, he's done a good job maturing and growing into that.
Alabama had a offensive coordinator change here recently. I know Ty had a really close relationship with Coach Sark prior to him leaving for Texas, and I'm sure he still does. But can you talk about the relationship now with Coach Bill O'Brien, and has that been able to grow over the course of the last few weeks?
Well, it certainly had, and like you said, yeah, Sark did a great job with Ty. He was easy to talk to. He did a nice job. Ty told me one time that the 2 coaches that he talked to that in the recruiting process, it really created a vision for him offensively. One was Lincoln Riley there at Oklahoma, and the other one was Sarkisian. Not that other guys don't know ball or anything like that; they certainly do. But they really created a picture from the quarterback perspective of seeing the space on the field, and so he really felt offensively that was a good fit for him. Charles Kelly, who's on the staff there at Alabama, he and I worked together at Jacksonville State years ago. Of course, now Jay Graham is there. Like I talked about, he worked here in 2007. And I'll be honest with you, even Jeremy Pruitt there at Knoxville, him and Ty had gotten very close here in the state. And so as you would ask them questions about Coach Saban, about the Alabama process, about the development there and stuff, you heard nothing but great things. What you've seen on television and on ESPN and all the different stuff, but to really kind of hear the inside about how that program was built, from those different guys. And then O'Brien has done a great job reaching out to Ty, and they've talked a lot of football and gotten to know each other, in the last month. And so his relationship with Alabama has really grown, I would tell you, in the last month.
What's been the best advice, I don't know if you would call it best, but what's been the advice that you have been giving him, throughout the process as he, gets ready to make this decision?
Well, yeah, I think like I was alluding to or talked about a few minutes ago about, what are your priorities? Your priorities may not be what everybody else's are. We live in a town here in West Tennessee. We're part of the University of Tennessee system. And, they would love to have an in-state guy stay, at the University of Tennessee from the quarterback position. It's been a long time since they've had a kid, go there. But, sometimes the timing just doesn't work out right in the situation. So, are you, Ty, when you come to pick, when you choose your situation, are you looking at it over a 4-year period? You looking at it over a 40-year period? Do you dream about playing in the NFL? Okay. If you do, all right, these are certain schools that have the proven track record that, if you want to win a national championship, do you saw it, the last 3 quarterbacks in the room there at Alabama with Jalen and Tua and Mac, all 3 first, second round picks, obviously Mac's projected in the first round this year. Jalen started 3 years, Tua, a year and a half, Mac only 1 year, so you understand the type of competition that it's going to be there in that quarterback room at the University of Alabama. If that's where you choose, are you okay with that? And I can tell you this, Ty had a conversation with Mac and he told me about it and I thought it was great. And I think it really caught Ty's attention. Mac told him that he said, Ty, even before I became the starter here, I loved my experience here at the University of Alabama. And that was pretty impressive to Ty, to where, that's because that may be the road, if you choose a place like that, it may take you a couple of years to break in that lineup if you ever do. I mean, that's just part of it. But I thought that was a great selling mark for the university.
And you may or may not be able to answer this, but I did want to ask you, do you feel like there's a few certain schools that are very high on his list that he's going to be choosing between here, I guess, in the next week?
Yeah, I think so. And I would tell you, Alabama's certainly one of those. So, I think in his mind, there's probably, 3 schools that, kind of would meet certain needs and expectations of, what his goals and dreams are for himself. And, I think in his mind, it's 3 schools, and but I think deep down, I think he knows where he wants to go.
Now, is he going to be enrolling early?
Yeah, he'll be a December graduate. So that's kind of exciting, but kind of sad as a dad. I guess I only got him in my house another 10 months. So, but no, he'll be a December early out, and looks forward to that.
Good. Well, tell us about his skill set. What makes him such a good player out there on the field?
Well, I think growing up as a coaching son, there is a lot of advantage to that. Obviously, being around the college players, being in the locker room. There's just a lot of things that you get an advantage of, the Phillip Rivers of the worlds and other guys that have grown up as coaches' sons that you just get to see. You understand. You've been in quarterback meetings before. You understand. I laugh at kid. I probably was my second year in college at Mississippi State before I even understood, exactly 3-step drops or what cover 3 was or rush 3, drop 8, and all those different things. You just don't hear those terminologies around the dinner table. My dad was a principal growing up, so those are things that were foreign to me. So you've been exposed to a lot of things. Maybe that from a recruiting process, maybe that cuts down the guesswork of a guy being able to handle that type of environment. So he's grown up in that environment. He's grown up throwing to I've had several receivers here going to play in the NFL. So he's thrown to those guys. So he understands he understands what that kind of speed looks like and stuff. But more importantly, I think he's done a good job. Ty can spin the football pretty well, and that's a lot of different daddies call me and say, how did you teach him to throw like that? Well, just like when I get a high school quarterback that comes here, you can't really change a whole lot of the throwing motion. The ball has to come out of their hands a certain way. There's a lot of things, footwork that we've worked on and recognition and different things. And we've tweaked a lot of things. But, I tell the story. I had a couple of GAs over the years here that helped me with quarterbacks because I coach quarterbacks and offense coordinator as well here. But part of their job was after practice, Ty would come over and they would spend some time with him. And we kind of used him as a guinea pig as we were, developing, different, methods to, teach different releases and off-platform throws and stuff. And he was able to do those things at an early age. And so like I said, we use him as a guinea pig because the ball naturally, comes out of his hand and from different arm slots. And, now, things that you don't know with a college rush in his face and, will he stand there and deliver the ball? I mean, I don't think anybody knows that about a high school quarterback when you recruit them. But as far as being able to stand there and make the throws, I think he feels pretty confident in that. And as a dad, I'm his biggest fan, but I'm also his worst critic. But there's some things that I see him do that are pretty dynamic and, excited to see it translate on the next level.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Coach, we really appreciate you coming on the show today. I'm not going to ask you for your prediction on where Ty's going to go to college, but I know Alabama fans are really looking forward to watching his announcement. And Ty did, for those who are watching, Ty did just postpone his announcement for this week. I believe until next Friday, February the 26th, so that he can announce his commitment at his school in front of a lot of his teammates. So I don't think he's delaying it because of not knowing his decision. I think it's just because of just doing it with his friends at his high school. So we'll look forward to that. And Coach, best of luck to you this season. I know you're anxious to get out there on the field and win some games. So best of luck to you and try to stay warm up there.
Hey, man, thank you so much. And I appreciate you reiterating that as far as, he as a matter of fact, you shared it with me. He delayed it, but he and I talked about it last night. There's no particular, just because we're going to be out of school all week. You can't even get around our little town. And he wanted his family and friends to be able to be there. So we decided to push it to next week so he could experience that. So thank you for your time today, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much and best of luck to you.